Hello everybody, Big Beardy back again with another video, and today we're talking about the physical aspects of being a courier. Is there a physical aspect to it? Can you do it? Can't you do it? How difficult is it? I get this question asked all the time, and I've never really addressed this particular subject, so we're doing it today. But before we start, do me a personal favour. Check out the link down below and the card up above for my new channel, Big Beardy Food, where I will be going around the country eating various takeaways, reviewing food, showing you some of my favourite recipes, and I'll be doing a couple of food challenges as well. And if you've got any way that you suggest that I should go and eat, let me know. But please go check that out if you could. That would be amazing. Right, into the video. Is being a courier a physical job? Generally, no. There's not a huge amount of physicality to it. You don't do a huge amount of lifting or moving stuff on 90% of the jobs. But we'll talk about sort of how you can get around it, how you can look out for the jobs where you do have to, and how you can actually solve these problems. First, we're going to talk multi-drops real quick, just because there is a physical element to that. You do have to jump in and out of the van. You're getting parcels out the back. You're going to be walking a lot. There's a lot more movement involved in doing multi-drops than there is doing the same day stuff when you're just sort of sat in the van and you're driving from A to B. So you have to be aware of that. Saying that, anyone with a based level fitness will be able to do it. Like, you're not going to get out of breath unless you're hugely unhealthy doing this job. Saying that, I've been doing it for what, 3-4 weeks now, because it's Christmas, and I'm losing weight doing it, which is great. But it's that as long as you have a pretty average level of fitness, you can do it. If you can walk more than a mile, walk a mile and it's, you know, without getting out of breath, you're fine. If you can walk up and down stairs 3 times really quick, you're fine. There's not a huge physical element to it, but there is more than doing the same day stuff. You will be jumping in and out of the van. You will be getting parcel out the back, and there is an element, like I think it was last year, I pulled my back doing it because I lifted a parcel incorrectly. Put my back out. Could happen to anyone, but you have to be aware these things can happen. So multi-drops, yes, there is a little bit of, I wouldn't say strength involved. There's no strength involved, but there is a very small level of athleticism. I have to think of the word then. Right, now onto the same day stuff, the one I really get asked about, because we are generally, when you're doing the same day stuff, you're taking 1, 2, 3 pallets, depending on the size of your vehicle, from A to B. And a lot of people ask, how do you get the pallets on? How do you get them off? And do I actually have to do any lifting? Right. The vast majority of jobs will get forklift onto the back of your van and forklift off the other end. If you think most of our work is business to business, you're generally going from warehouse to warehouse, and the vast majority of warehouses, even small little container units that get pallets brought in, will have a forklift truck. Not all though. There are exceptions, and I'll tell you a little story in a minute regarding that. Now, how you can look out for these jobs, anything that says handballing, if you're not physically able to handball, either you've got a disability, you've blown your back out, you know, you might be obese and overweight, which, you know, I'm overweight. It's a common thing in our industry because we're driving constantly. You put weight on. But if you're hugely overweight, you see a job of handballing on, you might want to stay away from it, because it might mean you're picking stuff up and taking up 3-4 flights of stairs. It might mean you're just literally thrown off the back of the van, but you don't know. So what I tend to do, and I do this with most jobs for a couple of reasons, is when let's use the CX for example, when you win a job, the shipper should phone you and let you know that you have won that job. The job is yours, mate. I'll pass it through to you. That is your opportunity to do 2 things. First of all, I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000,000 times, build a relationship, talk to the shipper real quick. Even if you've got to ask a silly little question, just to get a little conversation so they remember you. And if if they like you, they're going to send you work. I've had situations where I've been the shipper, I've phoned someone, and within 3 seconds of me phoning them, I'm like, I'm never using this bloke again because he sounds like a dick. So it is that opportunity to build that relationship. But second of all, it's your opportunity to ask meaningful questions. I've had a job cancelled on me because they phoned through, went, listen, the job's yours. And I said to them, it was a long wheelbase job. I've got quite a short long wheelbase. I've got a Ford Transit. And it's about, I think it's 3.4 meters off the top of my head. It might be 3.6, 3.4, whatever, don't matter. Quite short for a long wheelbase. Whenever I get a long wheelbase job, if it doesn't specify in the notes the size of the vehicle, or the size of what I'm taking, I always ask, what am I taking? How long is it? Simple question. And the reason I do that is because if it's like 3.9 meters, it's not going in. And I've had a job cancelled. I said, how long is it? They went, it's 3.9 meters. I went, well, van's only 3.4. I'm not going to be able to take that unless it bends or folds. And he went, no, it's a metal girder thing. Fair enough. I'll give it to the next bloke. But if you are worried about a physical aspect of the job, that's your time to phone. Time to ask the question, sorry. So they phone you through and you could be like, what exactly am I taking? You're taking 3 pallets. Forked on? Yeah, no, you know it's forked on, forked off, not a problem. If they say, oh, it's window frames or rolls of carpet, you ask the question there, will I have to load it or unload it? And they're going to say yes or no. If they say yes, you will have to load it. Depending on your level of fitness and, you know, if you can actually lift stuff, you might want to say, oh, well, actually, I've got a back problem or this, so I might not be able to do it. You might have to pick and choose jobs. It's sad reality. I'd like everyone to win every job they get, but sometimes you might have to say, actually, I can't physically do that. It's not possible. I had a situation, and here's the rare thing that might happen to you. 2 pallets forked on. Simple. Drove to where I was dropping off near London. I think I was Kingston actually. Might not have been. Got to the other end. Pulled up to the factory. It was a small unit. And I said, right, there's the pallets. They went, oh, all right, mate, can you take them off and put them over there? I went, how am I meant to take them off? They're 2 full pallets and they're wrapped. What do you want me to do? And the bloke was like, no, but I need them. And I was like, that's not my job. I'm just the courier. I said, you get me 2 blokes out to help me. I'll shrink wrap them and I'll pass the boxes down because there were boxes on top of this pallet. But I shouldn't have had to do that in the first place. That's handballing, so I would have to charge more money. The job should specify handballing. So that's why you need to have that conversation. This was that rare occasion where the shipper, not their fault, probably naturally assumed, because it's palleted on, it's going to get forked off the other end as well. That's generally what happens. But if you have a physical condition where you might not be able to do that, you need to have a conversation. And when you get to the other end, if you physically can't do it, ask for help. Tell the shipper, say, listen, I can't lift this off. You might even want to put on, if you're on the CX, I think there's an area where you can have notes or a bio or something like that. It's been a while since I had a look at that section of the CX. But there might be somewhere there where you can say, cannot handle. Goods have to be forked on and off. You know, if you can't physically do something, you can't physically do it, and it's not your fault. So, but generally, I know I've sort of gone through the sort of weird scenarios there, but generally, the job is very easy and there's very little physical effort. Most of the time, pallets are put on. All you have to do is strap them down, which is relatively easy, and then it's driving. Now, one question I do get asked a lot is, with my back, how do I find the driving? I have basically lower back pain. At the bottom of my back, one of the muscles is extremely weak due to various things, and I have real problems with it. I don't have an issue with driving whatsoever. My back does not hurt when I drive at all. I sometimes get a bit of sciatic nerve pain. I will be honest, that will happen. And, you know, my legs can ache after like a 12, 15 hour day. But generally, I have no pain whilst I'm driving. So that is a good thing. If you do find that you're having pain whilst driving, unfortunately, I would say it's not the job for you. And I'm going to be real with people here. Why work a job when you're constantly in pain? Don't. If you drive drive an hour and then you start aching, it's not the job for you, unfortunately, because you're going to be in pain constantly. Either fix the pain or get another job. I'm just being brutally honest with people. So there is a little test you can do for sort of figuring out if you are physically able to do the job. And it's pretty easy. I think, and someone's going to correct me on this, the government legal requirement for you can lift in a workplace without the aid of another person or some sort of machinery is 25 kilograms, if I remember correctly. It's about the same weight as a sack of cement. You go to, you know, home base or somewhere and you see the bags of cement or sand. I think they're 25 kilograms, if I remember correctly. If you can pick one of them up and you can walk up and down the stairs, or you can walk 50 meters, that's generally the sort of level of physicality you will need. Because anything more than that, someone should be helping you, or there needs to be a machine involved. That's why, obviously, in our industry, it's forklifts. Forklifts take stuff on, they take stuff off the majority of the time. So I hope that's answered some people's questions. I think anyone can do this at pretty much any level of, you know, physical well-being, as long as you're not, you know, paralyzed from the neck down, or well, the legs down, I suppose. If you're able to get in and out of a van, drive it, and walk to the local shops and back, you should be fine. But if you are worried, talk to the shippers when they phone you. Now, there's another element of this, and that is the mental element. I'm going to talk about this real briefly, because obviously some of you may know from, if you're regular viewers, that I had a wobbly patch a few weeks back, and I wasn't feeling great, and the job had got to me. I'm going to mention this because it is a real thing in this industry. A lot of the time you'll be sat on your own in a van for hours on end. If you're not comfortable in your own head, this might not be the job for you. Luckily, I talk to myself a lot. I think that's a sign of madness, but I'm dealing with it. So, but you will be driving around. You will be just talking to yourself. You have to be comfortable in your own skin, or it can become quite taxing. Thoughts go through your head constantly. I know when I'm not in a good place or something has happened, you can fixate on stuff in your brain, especially when you're driving down a motorway. I've caught myself mulling something over my head over and over and over again that's been bothering me, and it's not a good thing to do. So that's just something to be aware of. If you are someone who is, you know, suffering with any sort of depression or anything, stepping out of the van and away from it for a little while might help. Or, you know, if you're in that state right now and you think, actually, I'm going to get in the van and do this. If your problems, I'm trying to word this correctly. If your problems aren't money based, because the reason we do this is to make money. If this is the way you're going to solve your money problems, which is going to solve all this going up here, fine. If there's something else going on, just be aware that you will be stuck in your own head, and it's a fact of life. It's a fact of this job, sorry. So I just thought I'd make you aware of that. Just be comfortable in your own head, and be comfortable being alone. If you're someone who has to be with someone or working with someone, that's fine. Get someone else in the van. But if you're not comfortable just being on your own for 10 hours straight, might not be the right path to go down. So now I've mentioned all that, thank you for listening. I hope this has sort of made it people who are thinking, oh, you know, maybe I'm a little bit overweight, or I'm a little bit older. Can I still do it? You should be able to. As long as you take the right precautions, you speak to shippers, you make sure you're not taking on a job that you can't do. For instance, if a job popped up and it said you need to lift, you know, a whole gym's worth of gym equipment in the back of your van, and you've got a bad back, and, you know, you're nearing retirement and you're overweight, that's not the job to go for. Use a bit of common sense and ask questions. Always say, what exactly am I doing? Is there handballing involved? What is the handballing? If you're not comfortable doing handballing because you're not at that state, don't go for those jobs. So, I hope this answers the question. Once again, please check out the new channel, Big Beardy Food, link down below. You've been awesome. I've been the Big Beardy One. Be safe out there. Have a great day.